Hello everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations. You're with Simon today. And as always, I'm excited to be doing another subscriber chart reading. And this is a great opportunity for you that's watching this channel to learn about evolutionary astrology and to understand how you can look at your chart from this perspective, get a deep sense of what is it that exists in your chart and how does the soul exist within the context of that astrology chart. So, as I said, I'm excited to look into this for us today, and I hope that you learn a lot out of this conversation. So, let's jump straight into this for us, okay? Pluto is the point that where you start with this person's chart, and as you can see, Pluto sits in the 10th house, all right? There's Pluto in the 10th house. Now, why do we look at Pluto in the 10th house? We look at Pluto in the 10th house because this is the bottom line of your soul, okay? This is the bottom line of where your soul is coming into this life, and what are the sort of unconscious emotional complexes that you as a soul carry with you that needs to be resolved. So when we talk about resolution of these emotional attachments, we're talking about something that's really deep within our psyche. Okay, this is our humanness. This is the unconscious emotional attachment is the human experience. And what are those choices and how have those choices led to this lifetime? So Pluto represents this to us. So yeah, you have a soul with Pluto in the 10th house, and the dynamics are around three things. Okay, the karma is associated with time. Okay, whenever Pluto materializes in the 10th house, I have this myself, it has to do with how do we understand time? And even more deeper than that, when we initiate something, when we start something, okay, the desire to start something, Pluto, we initiate a cycle. And that cycle creates a dynamic of the cause and effect, right? So how long did that cycle take to complete itself? This is one of the deepest essences that Pluto in the 10th house as a soul is coming to learn. So if I go in that direction and that cycle takes me this amount, then that is how much time I'm going to be investing into that. So do I want to do that? Do I want to invest in that experience? So why is it this idea of time and this experience of time? Because Pluto in the 10th house is also bringing the archetype of maturation. Okay, the archetype of maturation in the 10th house. So how am I maturing through my life? How are all of these deep experiences that I'm having maturing me? And this is something that we all experience, of course, but for Pluto in the 10th, it's a very profound thing to understand because Pluto is there, you want to push to reach the top. You want to get to the top. You want to be the leader in this experience. You want to achieve the highest results. You want to be there and, as I said, lead this. And what happens is that there are certain blocks that take place at different points in your life, just as you're about to achieve something. And these blocks create an internal dialogue with yourself. So it forces you in onto your emotional reality. And it asks you, why are you doing this? What is the context? Why is the power behind this? Okay. So the essence here is that as we make decisions and we learn about time, we're also learning about the frustration that can come from being blocked or that the direction seemingly is not working the way that we want to. And ultimately what we're learning here is that when we're feeling blocked, this is forcing us in on ourselves. And the evolution of your soul, the dynamic of the soul with Pluto in the 10th, is to evolve into the 4th house, which is all about the home. So in my practice, in my work, I have two realities. I have this place where I sit here and I say, hi, this is me, and that's my 10th house. But then I go down into the home, into the level of the home, and it's not about work. It's about the what is human relations like, okay? How do people interact with each other? How do people get on emotionally with each other? Because the Pluto doesn't, or the 10th house archetype doesn't want to go into the emotional field. But yet the very essence of your spirituality and the empowerment and the empathy and the true experience of growth actually exists in that fourth house polarity. And it's because ultimately Pluto in the 10th wants to lead. It wants to take responsibility. It wants to say, hey guys, I'll stand up and I'll show us this direction. I'll get everything sorted out for us. And there's two ways that that can happen. It can be distorted, and it can say, hi, I want to show up and be of help to you, put me in power and I'll do it. But really at the end of the day, the power is just for themselves. Or it says, hey, I can see that I have this desire to want to, put stuff on my shoulder and help us out and build a society and build a community. And I feel motivated by that. I feel empowered by that. But I want to do it for the sake of nurturing you, right? I want to do it for the sake of cultivating our community. And so the difference here is that when we connect emotionally with people, we start to learn that there is this beautiful thing of not actually getting to the top through determination, but more through a process of being placed there because of a natural talent, because of a natural desire, right? And so there's trust that gets involved with Pluto in the 10th. So for this soul, you can see here that they've come into this lifetime and Pluto's at 0 degrees. So you're just starting this existence. You're just starting this lifetime regarding the Virgo archetype. Right, so you'll come in and the deepest memories with you are probably one or both of your parents might have been very critical of you, very judgmental of you. And the judgment is rooted in the 10th house, right? I've done something wrong with the Virgo. So the Virgo says, hey, by the way, we're coming to really grow in healing your self-identity. We want to help you step into your power, step into your authority, step into the archetype of really being in charge of yourself. And we're going to do that firstly by clearing away a lot of the ideas or experiences of persecution, right? Not good enough, or I'm not ready enough to take charge. And then the other karmic complexity that comes along with this, potentially, is I'm going to be of service through being a parent, but that experience will bring me closer to my own inner emotional reality, but I might do this through putting myself last. So you're definitely learning in this lifetime to also take charge of your life. You're learning how to work with people, but you're also learning how to not sacrifice yourself consistently all the time. Okay? So let's go have a look at the South and North Node, right? The South and North Node. The soul has the South Node in the 6th house Taurus, and then their Mercury is connected to that. So when Mercury or any planet is connected to the South Node, we know that the soul is bringing something in from a prior lifetime that either has three situations. You're either resolving something around your communication and that you have on some level got some resolution. So some of the experiences that you bring to your life will be very empowering, and you'll have some sort of gift around communication. And then there's another part that also says part of that communication is still under development. Okay, and it can carry both of them. Now, you can see here that in the context of the South Node, it sits in the 6th house, the 6th, there it is there. And like I said, the South Node and Mercury are connected. So South Node is in Taurus, and the planetary ruler, right? So evolutionary astrology says there's a planetary ruler, and the planetary ruler gives us a very specific sense of identity. So your planetary ruler is Venus, as you can see here, Venus in Aquarius, and the planetary ruler of the South Node, because the South Node is in Taurus, shows Venus. And that is conjunct Chiron, right? So we know that there's something around the past, around some trauma to the home, some sort of like fracturing, maybe even dynamics in which they're emotionally not being able to connect with the values of the tribe. So why do I say that? So the tribe, or the home environment, the 4th house, and then the archetype of Aquarius says that there's something disjointed, there's something fragmented or individuated, not really being gelling together. And Chiron shares with me that there's some sort of sensitivity, a very deep wound that the soul brings with it. And then Venus shows up and says, well, this has to do around your value, right? Something around what you think is essential. So here's my take on it, right? Pluto in the 10th shows up and says, hi, this is my life direction. but my parents can be hypercritical of me and create a lot of judgment, which I internalize as a deep sense of lack around my own feelings of self-worth. And that woundedness shows up as a need to rebel or reject, right? I don't want to follow the family traditions. I want to break away from the identity. And part of that then comes with the South Node and the Mercury. It's I want to change my language. I want to change the way that I was communicated to, how I defined myself intellectually, right? Now, Mercury is in Aries. So we know that this is about some new direction. There's something that the soul is learning instinctively in each experience as it communicates. And that is kind of being resolved around the past. Now, in evolutionary astrology, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and it is the ruler of Virgo. Okay, Mercury has two sides to it. There's this outer expression, and there's this internal dialogue. So you can see here, there's this internal dialogue that the soul wants to break free from regarding the parents and their traditions and their ideals. And they want to follow some path that is deeply about committing to their own faith. North Node, Neptune, Jupiter. North Node on the 12th house cusp of the first, right, says, I want to, in this lifetime, change the faith and the spiritual norms and ideals of my community. And I want to show up following my own intuitive space. I want to value my own intuition, my own sense of who I am, right? And there is a lot of Scorpio here. There's Moon in the 8th house, Gemini. There's the North Node in Scorpio. There's Neptune in Scorpio conjunct that. There's a lot of energy that implies for the soul that they're here to also experience that when they choose their own path, they might create abandonment in other people. They feel like they're being abandoned, and they can project their unconscious like trauma onto this person, and you can feel like it's your fault. It's you were the cause of this. You were the person that said, if I follow my faith, or if I follow my own spiritual ideals, then I'm abandoning you, or you feel betrayed, you feel a loss. I feel the loss too, but it's more about empowerment for me than it is about actually wanting to intentionally betray you. But you can feel that way, and I might internalize those betrayals as something that is of your own ideals. There is another complex in the charts that also talks about having to choose which faith to follow, which faith to believe in. So even when it comes to like changing the identity, like the security attachment to what that faith was about, you had to go through an actual loss of faith in order to discover your own personal faith as well. And that could have come through an experience that was life-threatening. So that's very, very intense. But at the end of the day, this is what you've come here to do. And you've come to completely redefine yourself in this sense. Okay, fantastic. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this subscriber chart reading, everyone, and including the person that wanted to have it. And for that, I'd like to say thanks very much for listening and your attention. Have a wonderful week, and take care. Bye, everybody. Bye.